All right, so in this part of in this video, we're working on our paint application, and we should currently be able to draw inside our canvas, and we should be able to change colors. So far we've got that. But what if I made a mistake? Like right here, this line, it kind of goes through the middle of this little smiley face. So I want to be able to erase it. I'm going to implement the eraser today. So I could do it a couple ways. One, I could draw the eraser region. Like, I don't know, maybe I want to put a little box that they could click up here, same as a color picker, but I'm going to make it an eraser. So I could put it up here, upper right-hand corner. I could put it down here, lower left-hand corner. And I think right now I want to put it down here in the lower left-hand corner. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new function. I'm going to make sure that when I write this new function, I am not between the curly braces of draw color picker. So one way to do that is to collapse all of your functions and then make some space in between them. So I'm going to go ahead and go function draw eraser. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pick the location, like maybe down here in the lower left-hand corner. I'm going to change the fill color, and I'm going to pick a pink color. We'll see what color that is. And then I'm going to draw, I think my eraser should be a rectangle. So I'm going to say rectangle in the lower left-hand corner. My screen's 400 wide by 400 tall. So I'm going to pick a value that's near the bottom. So I don't know, 380 is pretty close to the bottom. 0 is all the way on the left-hand side. I'm going to shift it a little bit onto the screen. So maybe 5 pixels out, or I'm sorry, that's backwards. My X value needs to be towards the left-hand side of the screen. So my X value should be 5, which will be just shifted 5 spaces out, 5 pixels out into the screen. My Y value is 380 pixels down. So 380 pixels down. I'll make my width. All of my colors up here were width of 50. I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller. I'll make it a width of 40. And I'm going to make the height 15. Let's go ahead and add some semicolons at the end of this. And now we've defined a function to draw the eraser. If I run my code right now, no eraser. I can still draw, but my eraser isn't there. That's because even though we've defined this function, we haven't actually told our program to call it yet. So I'm going to go down to our main draw function, and right after I called the draw color picker, which makes the 8 boxes across the top, I'm going to call draw eraser. And now I'll call it, run it again, and now you can see my eraser is down here. Okay, the eraser doesn't work. If I do a bunch of squiggles and I click on the eraser, nothing happens. I'm still drawing with the pen. I need to now think about, like, okay, if I'm clicked inside this region, I need to turn it into an eraser. So I'm going to collapse the draw eraser function because it's drawn. That's it. I'm going to add the functionality for the eraser, for changing to the eraser, into the same mouse pressed function that we used for changing our colors using our color picker. All I need to do is look at the rest of these, and we're going to create a conditional statement, or I'm sorry, not look at the rest of them. We're going to use the same idea. If our mouse Y position is in this region down here, if our mouse X position is in this region down here, we're going to draw this or change the brush color, okay? But our brush color is just going to change to match the background, which in our setup, I can see for mine is a background of 240. So I'm going to use that same gray color if my mouse gets in that region. So I'm going to first check if mouse X is greater than 5, because that's where we started drawing our rectangle. This left-hand corner is at X equals 5. So if my mouse X is greater than 5 and my mouse X is less than the right-hand side of it, my eraser has a width of 40. So 5 plus 40 is 45. So I would say if it's less than 45, go in here. Okay, so I'm checking if my eraser is in the right location. Right now, I should be able to run my program maybe. Oh no, I need to tell it what to do. Brush color equals uh, color 240, which is the color of my background. Okay, so now run my program. I can draw. Oh, let's try it again. Maybe. Okay, so now I can draw, and when I click on the eraser, I can erase some of the lines if I made a mistake. The only problem is that when I run this and I draw something out here, even if I click here, anywhere between X is 5 and X is 45, if I click right here, I'm still got the eraser now, okay? Because I haven't checked for the Y values yet. So we need to go down here, and before we change the brush color, we also need to check for the mouse position. So mouse Y is greater than some number. We need to figure out what that number is. And mouse Y is less than whatever the bottom of this rectangle is. So some other number, okay? And then, and only then, should we change the brush color. We don't want to change the brush color anywhere else on the screen, only when you're inside the pink rectangle for the eraser. But we need to figure out what these values are. Well, we got to look back up to where we drew our eraser. We drew our eraser starting at a Y value of 380. So down 380 pixels, that's the top of this eraser. So we want to make sure that the mouse Y is bigger than 380 and the mouse Y position is smaller than the bottom of the rectangle. So between 380 and whatever the bottom is. We can see our height of our rectangle of our eraser here at 15. So 380 plus 15 should give me the 395. That's the bottom of the eraser. Now I should run this. If I click over here, it lets me draw still. When I click on the eraser, I get an eraser. My red still works. My white still works. And I can erase them all. Though it's kind of hard to erase because the eraser is so thin. And I think that just leads me to my next feature, which we should probably make a way to change the thickness of our brush. Cool.